My name is Tim Wanyonyi. Yeah, that's my name.
And I'm Ethel Nahumicha.
Who did you lose, when and how? I lost a brother, and it is something that still I don't understand. And it was last year, around May, and up to now, answers are not there. We're still searching for the answers. What happened? Yep.
I lost my friend in August 2021. He was hacked to death. We presume it was a robbery gone bad. Then I lost my grandfather in May from prostate cancer. How have things been with your family and friends since? It has been quite difficult, like for my grandfather, despite the fact that he was sick. He had it for 5 years. He looked like, at the very last minute, he looked like he was getting better. Then he died. So being the head of the family and in the African setup, he was like the patriarch. So the void is still being felt, but they're coming to terms with it. As for my friends, the uncertainty, whether really it was a killing or whether it was just a robbery gone bad or whether just grappling with the emotions has been tough, and the fear that comes with it because you don't know why. You don't know the motivation behind it. But everyone is trying to come to terms with it.
It has been hard moving on. But with time, I think we heal. All of us, family, friends, we get along, and yes, life must go on. We lose. Sometimes we lose a dear one, but life is not replaceable. Can you tell me about your loved one? Yes, my brother Tony Waswa. He was young, very young to me, but a very close friend. We worked together. We were like together 24/7. And Tony, for me, he was on call anytime. And I remember when I just come back from college and I came to Nairobi, he's the one now who took the task of showing me around.
My grandfather, like I said, he was sick in the last 5 years of his life. But the image that still comes to mind is his right leg had been amputated from the knee. So he was this strong, robust man who would just hop around on his one leg. He fought his lack of one leg put him down completely. He even used to dig with his one leg. He would just go about his life like everything was normal, and he was quite the comedian. He would always just bring out the fun in everything. He was quite a storyteller. When you'd sit with him, you would actually just enjoy your time. Next, describe your relationship with your loved one. Describe your relationship with your loved one. I will start with my grandfather. Our engagements were always warm and loving, and the way grandparents dote on their grandchildren, and you would feel like with him you would get away with anything. There were no rules really, because he just allowed you to be the child that you wanted to be. I think truly I loved him, and I will miss him a great deal. For him, there were absolutely no rules. If you wanted to sleep, he would say, "Wacha alale." And you would wake up and he would ask, "What do you want to have today? What are you up to? We can sit under the tree." And he would tell you about his times with the colonial masters, how they used to be treated, how he managed to save, I think he used to say 135 shillings to buy his 15 acres of land. And he would always just put, everything seemed like an adventure for him. He tried very hard to make our stay with him quite enjoyable and memorable. And just like I have said with Storm, our friendship was very respectful, because every time he looked for me, basically, it was just to seek my counsel. Probably I was some kind of mentor. He felt like I had networks, and sometimes I would understand some of the things he was going through. And he would just come and sit and talk to me, and it was not judgmental at all. And it is interesting that even on the night he died, we actually sat and talked for quite some time. Then he stood up and said, "Okay, let me go." And it's unfortunate that that was the final time.
Myself and Tony, we were close, although Tony was much, much younger than me. But when we were together, we wouldn't tell that he was that much younger. And he was a brother, but he was a friend also. And I was his boss. So there were many things that we look. And he never took offense or anything. He was ready, willing, and always smiling. Even when he was angry, he will never show it. And yes, he also had very, very high respect for me. And when we go home, until he makes sure that I'm comfortable, that is when he will leave. And he always will be ready, and he wants to show people what's supposed to do. Sometimes he will even, if the situation is not working and he realizes maybe I'm not very happy, he will create a situation until things calm down. So he's a person who can take a plate for you, who could take a plate for you. He was ready, and he will do anything. Has your perspective of death changed? I think death is a mystery. You will never get around it, because as somebody said in our music, that if death was a human being and you could see him, maybe we could go and take appointment and ask him to allow you time to fix your things before he comes for you. But it's just a mystery that we don't really. It's just hovering around you like a shadow. So you'll never get over it, no matter what. Even if, a day-old child dies, a 99-year-old man dies, or a woman, it is still not easy to take. We are never prepared. Nobody has ever been prepared for death. And death is scary. I know, and I remember even Jesus, I did not take it kindly. He knew he will conquer death, but he cried out about it. He even pleaded with God to take it away, because it is something that everybody Even an animal will get scared.
I lost my brother some years back. And at that time, I thought that was the most painful loss I would go through. But interestingly, quite a number of deaths have occurred, not just of close ones. And I think as you grow older, as people die, it just brings home your mortality, the fact that even you could go anytime, and especially the way people are dying in accidents, sicknesses. You get sick, you're getting better, and then you die. However much we say we want to prepare, you can never be prepared at all. Even when someone is terminally ill, you can never ever tell that it's going to be this year, or it's going to be this month, or it's going to be this date. Is there anything you would have said to them before they died? Is there anything you wish you would have said to them before they died? I didn't see my grandfather just before he died. I tried to get my mother for us to go, but she refused and said she didn't want to remember him like that. So I didn't go, but I wish I had been able to tell him that I enjoyed my time with him, and that I hope if there's life where he went to, that he will end it, or he will leave it without all the pain of the cancer he went through. And for my friend, if I had known, because that night we were also talking about his music, I wish I had told him that I was proud of the fact that he had decided not to go the usual shortcut way of some young people who will want to cut corners through life. He chose to use his talent to be able to educate people. He did lots of music on HIV, on peace, on drugs, and so on. I wish I had told him that I was very proud of the fact that he had chosen to use his talent to better his life.
Okay. I think if I knew that this was going to happen, maybe I'll have just spent that last moment with him, and I'll just sit there and we just reflect what we have gone through thick and thin, the things we have shared. Yeah, I'll have told him that, young man, I love you, and you are awesome. Because sometimes brothers can also be, they can become very nasty, but sometimes you learn to live together. But when you are friends as brothers, it's something very, very different. And it's also just tells that there's a bond that can never be erased. And I wish if we had a chance to say things or even eulogize when somebody's hearing, we'll have told them the best things, the best times, the memories and all that we could share. We hold a lot of things in our stock. Sometimes you cannot say all of it. Even if you want to write a book, you'll not finish. Even if you want to even put it in other things, in another format like music and all that. I think it's a lifelong thing that can never be finished. It can never be completed in this lifetime. So all what we have to is just hold the memory and live with it as long as you can remember or you can have it. So yeah, I'll have just maybe spend that last moment, shared something, listened to our music, had our drink, laughed together and all that. I think that will have just been the best quiet time we'll have spent together. But those are just wishes, could never be taken. What are some of the things you did that helped you get through your loved one's passing? We have sometimes once we have gotten over the funeral and all that, we just learn to heal. You just have to say we let go, but we must now learn to heal and transform ourselves and let us live on. And sometimes it's the best way to celebrate somebody's life is to carry on with whatever he was doing or what he stood for. And if there was something that he was doing that he left hanging, you carry on with it and finish. For example, yes, children who still who are school going, you step in and make sure those children get on and finish education. They should not fall out of school and all those other things. And those are some of the things. They are not written down, but there are rules that sometimes we just adapt and work with it. That there are some things that if you are there, he will take care of them. But since he is not around, then we can manage to deal with some issues and make sure that things work out. Some you let go because hanging on may just give you that bad memory. So we let go what we cannot control. But what we can control, we can manage it and let things work out. So for me, I believe that we can only keep his memory by remembering or doing things that he would have done it when he was alive. The things that he held dear to his life, we can help to make sure that that memory can still live on in other people's lives or in the family. So I think that's much I can say about that.
Okay. For me, talking has helped a great deal. As you talk, you know, you remember the good times you had, the memories you had, and it just attunes your mind to dwell on the good, and somehow the pain dulls or the pain numbs as you concentrate on the good times you had. And even just letting people around you know that I am still going through moments of grief. It's still very painful. I still feel like I can't deal with it. It helps a great deal because it's now a shared, like they say, a problem shared is a problem half solved. And you'll get different suggestions, take up journaling, listen to this kind of music and so on. And you're able to just also draw from within yourself to be able to pull yourself out of the grief, because ultimately you must live. Life will not stop and give you a pause for you to go through your grief. You somehow must go through your grief and go through life. So the many other things. And even as you talk, you also realize that you are almost getting into maybe activities that are going to be self-destructing, and you take a step back and you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to do things right, because even if this person was alive, they wouldn't be proud of the fact that you're falling apart because they are not there. Who are the people that helped you most when you were grieving? Number one, mostly family. I have an auntie that we talk quite a lot. In fact, I even just call her mom. I don't call her auntie. And I remember one time I asked her, how come lately so many people are dying? Is it me that knows too many people, or is it that people are dying? And she made me again understand one aspect of growth. She said, you see, now you're forming networks. You have friends. You have friends of friends. You have family. You have friends of your family. And as you interact, they become your friends. So as your circle widens, you know more people. You're forming bonds with more people. And even when your friend is bereaved, you're also bereaved. When your relative is bereaved, you're also bereaved. So as your network grows, so do all these other feelings that we're going through, so that it seems like every other day, someone close to you has died. It is because, human beings are social beings. It's inevitable that you're going to get into contact with many other people. And it will happen that you will get to a point where it will feel like very many people are dying because you're talking to you're in contact with many people. So my family have been very helpful. Someone just calls and asks, how are you? Someone calls and says, can we go and have coffee? They may not realize, but probably at that moment you're very lonely and you're thinking many things and you just need some distraction. And friends too, but mostly family. Because sometimes friends, mostly family. And we have gone through it comfortably. We trust that it will be well even in the future.
Yeah, it's actually family. When it's a family, always that is a place of you can fall back to. They become a source of strength. Friends come in handy, but friends will come and control. They'll come and be there for a moment, and they'll go away. But the family will remain together. They'll hold together. They'll grieve together. They will encourage each other. And that is when you realize that a person who can offer you their shoulder to lean on is at this time of grieving. So you find a lot of strength in the family. And sometimes maybe with religious groupings, the people maybe you worship together, they sometimes also come in very handy. They can come and always come and pray with you, come and offer a lot of support. But all the time, that works very well when the family is a unit and always pulling together. That is where this source of strength will come in. I don't know another source that can give you a better way of healing and dealing with mourning than a family, because the first reaction when you get that somebody you have lost a family member or a loved one is to look for another family member. And sometimes we've seen even people postpone funerals until all family members have assembled together, and they come and then they plan together, and everything in the family will work within that. So I believe it is within the family and with the family that things work out, and they can work out very well. Yeah. So what coping mechanisms did you develop during grieving? During grieving, I think we take it a day at a time. When this thing comes, there are no hard and fast rules that will define what needs to be done. But you find that older member in the family will always come in very handy. They will always provide leadership at that time. They'll provide the kind of guidelines that will enable others to follow in how to deal with the issues, how the funeral is going to be conducted, who should do what, and what should be done. Also depending with the age of the person who has passed on, also depending on the gender, whether it was a male or a female. Things are conducted in a different way with different people. A person who is, for example, a patriarch of a family, things will work out differently. Or a matriarch, those who have lived and have got, many lineage of families who are still living. And that is when you come to learn how to, you are going to cope, how you are going to deal with these issues. So you'll find it within that establishment, whether it's coming from the church, whether it's coming from the family, these things will always bring out something. And as I said, sometimes those members who are a bit much older, they'll provide quite some good leadership in that format of how you are going to deal with it, and on and on. And sometimes we find that an elder person in the family, always people will go and, come and sit around him and listen to what he is going to provide, how he's going to say, what is going to guide what is supposed to be done. And that is something that is sometimes we find that is something that cannot be taken for granted, and we learn from it. And I think life is just a process of learning over things, because nobody understands everything completely. Everything you have to learn as things happen. Yeah.
I think I will agree with you that with death, we get to also understand our people's philosophy of life, and that in itself will also give you comfort. For example, my grandfather died at 91 years old, and according to our setup, he died when he had great-grandchildren. He had circumcised grandsons, and according to our African setup, he had been given dowry for his daughters. He left an inheritance for his sons. And my grandfather was forward thinking. He didn't just live for his sons, he also left for his daughters. So, when you're given such accounts, it just gives you comfort to know that, this old man actually lived his life. According to, there are people who are not lucky enough, for example, to see grandchildren or to even have their children, but this is someone who has lived even to see his great-grandchildren. So even as you grieve, you're reminded, don't grieve so much, because he has lived a full life. So now it is our duty to try and just live right, take care of ourselves, and pray to God that he will also give us the grace to live to that age or close to that age and to be able to have such achievements. So that helps us just go through the grieving moments. And even sometimes when people die prematurely, again, we philosophize and say, probably it would have been very tough ahead and God decided to take them early. It is not our choice. It is not our decision. We don't get to say, take this one and don't take this one. It is a higher power that decides. But we have to just get through it and go through life as it is. Finally, what has this experience taught you? I think it just, there's a common expression that people come into our lives for a reason and for a season. So in our engagements, get the reason or give the reasons, and for that season you are together, just make the best of your time, the best of your engagements, and ultimately, we shall all get out of this life. And none of us is getting out of it alive unless Jesus comes while we are still here. But we shall all die at one point or another. We do not know when. So it is just the time that you are here that should count. Be right by people. You can never be 100% perfect, but if you're called upon to do something, just do it to the best of your ability. If you falter and you realize, apologize, make amends, and just try and just live your life. Just live your life. Do not go through life like you have some bonuses. Nothing at all is guaranteed. It can be any time, it can be anywhere, it can be any way. You can go in any way. So every single day is a blessing from God. We make the very best of it, and we still hope that tomorrow again, God will give us another chance.
There is a Swahili saying that kusaliwa ni bahati, kufa ni lazima. And that is just defines what life is all about. You are born, and anything that was born, it will have to die. Time will come. We don't know when. That one is not known. And in African setup and establishment, no death is natural. Death is caused by somebody. So we must always find the definition to that. Who caused it? Who had bad blood with this person or whatever? Whom did he meet or do something like that? So sometimes when life ends, we find too many questions than answers. We try to answer some of them, and sometimes we just take a relief in what we think is the best way to let go and just grieve quietly. And for the memory of that person, that we should actually live good things. Name children after him if he was a good person, and on, so that life is carried on through other people. And people always believe that death is never the finality, because these people come back as spirits and they live in people again. If you lived well, you will come and live in another life. If you never lived well, maybe you'll come in an animal or something like that. So we always find that this is something very comforting, and also making sure that people always know that at one stage in life, however popular, however powerful, you'll die. And both people who are good and bad, they still face the same thing, death. Death comes, and death is such a finality. And we learn that when you lose a loved one, so the older you are, the better, because you'll understand that you will celebrate the life and will not be grieved to such a level that sometimes you become a nuisance even to yourself. So we just learn that this person lived well. Yeah, he has gone. Let us celebrate his life. Good memories. You remember the good times we are with him, and then you learn from it. So it is always something. Those who are younger are explained to why this person, maybe you'll never see him again, like that. And the time comes when now we say a final farewell. That is the time that people just know that, well, this, at least he lived well, that he has gone, and we celebrate his life. So it is just a learning lesson all the way from birth to death, and all along it just remains a mystery forever.